Hi, my name is Dan Swenson. I'm the technology manager with the ABA section of taxation. And today I'm making a video about Tax Connect. It'll basically be a general orientation, sort of a crash course in what Tax Connect is and how to use it. Tax Connect will be replacing a couple of our older systems, which I'll touch on in just a moment. But more importantly, it is really a great new platform for our members to discuss practice questions, coordinate on upcoming events, share files, and also it offers a lot of benefits as compared to our old systems. So for example, you'll be able to search old messages, say if you're looking up a certain section to see if it's been discussed previously, makes it very easy to do. And you can join as many communities as you want. And we'll discuss what that means in just a moment. So let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda for today. So first off, we'll go over what exactly Tax Connect is replacing. And then second, we'll look at the different options committees have to have a presence on our website. Because Tax Connect does require that you sign in, with a couple notable exceptions, it does require that you have a section membership. So we'll discuss what each committee can have as a public web presence for people that are either prospective members or just want to find out more about what the committee does. Then we'll move into Tax Connect itself. What is it? How do you get there? How do you use it? And what will committees use it for? And then we'll have some suggestions on where we can go from here. Okay, so what we're going to do first is just take a look at what is Tax Connect replacing. So the first thing it's replacing is called listserv, which this is just a name for the ABA's mailing groups. If you've been in a mailing group before, you'll be pretty much familiar. So every mailing group has a central email address, and if you email that address, it goes out to the full group. If you reply to that email, it'll also go out to the full group. And so it's just a really easy way for a big group to have a discussion. And just as an example, this is an email I sent out to one of our listservs. And as you can see here, I just emailed this address. It went out to the full group. But the drawbacks of listserv would be that it is a little bit antiquated. It's limited in terms of what you can do with adding attachments, with formatting text, and also searching archives is actually it's possible, but most people don't know about it because it's difficult. You sort of had to meet it more than halfway to find the archive, and even then it was a little tough to use. So the second thing we'll be replacing with Tax Connect would be our old committee websites. And so these old committee sites, we can look at an example here. So you have a picture of it. They were very, very basic, just basically text. They were very buggy. They were easy to break. And they sort of, suffered from having too many purposes. This is where you had to put all of your committee materials. And so it sort of serves the dual purpose of presenting the committee to the public or to prospective members, and also being the place where committee members would visit to find out more. And, those are different things. And so what we'll be replacing it with, would be, first off, listserv will actually be replaced by the discussion feature of Tax Connect, so we'll circle back to that in just a moment. And the committees are actually replaced with our new committee landing pages. And so first off, how do you get there? So if you're from the ABA homepage, just go right to More, click on Committees, and here's our committee page. So this is a listing of all of the tax section committees, and we can just grab a random one here. And this is a good example of what a committee landing page is like. So again, this is for prospective members or for people that are just wondering what exactly it is that the committee does, what is their focus, when do they meet at meetings, things like that. So first we have our committee leadership, and then we have a quick mission statement basically about the committee. It sort of goes over what the committee does, and from there we also have a link to the committee's Tax Connect community, which we'll touch on in a moment, and then a more general comment on how exactly to join a section of taxation committee, which, as you know, if you're a member, you can join as many as you want once you're a section member. All right, so pretty easy to get to. It's just right from the home page. You just jump right into committee landing page. So let's jump right into Tax Connect. And the first question, of course, would be how do you get there? And so what you want to do is just click right on More, just like with committees, click on Tax Connect, and that'll bring you right to the home page here. Okay, so this is really the landing page, and you might show up here, but really most of the work done is in the actual communities themselves. And the communities are pretty similar to committees in terms of their subject area. And some communities have multiple committees represented within them. Some of them are standalones. But just as with committees, if you're a section member, you can join as many communities as you want. And so you'll see here, I'm actually already signed in. If you arrive at this site and you're not signed in, you'll just want to go ahead and click on sign in, which would normally be right here. And this is the exact same login as the AmericanBar.org site, not a different login. So once you sign in, the next question, of course, would be how do you get to a community, or how do you join one? And so I'm signed in. So what you want to do is just go right to communities and tax communities, which will show you the full list. And I'm already a member of all of them. So you'll see these right here. But if I were actually not a member of them, you would see a join link right here. So you just go through, join any community that interests you, and that's really all you have to do. Okay, so today, as we go over sort of the basics of Tax Connect, we'll actually be using a tax test community, but we can also take another look at the list of communities themselves. And just to return to something I mentioned previously, I did mention that there were a couple of tax communities that do not actually require section membership. And the first would be the Pro Bono and Tax Clinics community, which is very active. We've been really excited about how active that community has been. And that's actually open to anybody with an ABA login. So if you are interested in that subject, or know anybody that is, feel free to jump right over to the Pro Bono and Tax Clinics community and join up. There's a lot of great stuff going on there. And our second would actually be our employment taxes community as well. And so both of those are open, and the rest are available to section members. And so what I'll do now is sort of just go over the general setup of a Tax Connect community. And so this would be the main landing page, okay? And we have general info on this right-hand side here. And this is true of every single, real community site. Again, this is a test site just for privacy purposes, but you'll have the general info right here. You have a link to a frequently asked questions, a couple how-to videos, which can be very helpful. You'll see committee leadership listed here, and also a community lead. Some communities have these, and these are basically just members that have been nice enough to volunteer to be sort of an on-tap expert for Tax Connect. And so just send them a quick question if you're wondering how to get involved or how to do something. And if you have a technical question, always feel free to reach out to me as well. And my contact information will be right at the end of this video. Okay. And so the first thing we'll take a close look at would be our discussion features. And so you'll see the recent discussion posts all listed here. Let's take a look at an example. Okay, and so these are all the different discussion threads here. And really, if you've used a forum before, you'll be very familiar with how this all works. It's all pretty standard as far as forums go. So, you'll have the post here. Here's a reply. Okay, and if you wanted to reply to this post, you just click right there. And here's the reply, and then it'll just continue on with any other replies down in a thread fashion. And there's really two ways to post, and this is really one of my favorite things about Tax Connect, is if you want to hop straight to the website to make a post, you can do that. Or actually, oftentimes, it's much easier to use email. And so just like with Listserv, where it was really just a mailing group and it was all through email, you have the option of using email with Tax Connect. And so, if you're on the go and just don't feel like opening the site, or if it's just your preference, feel free to just post to the discussion list via email. And so every community has an email address, and it will always be listed right on this right-hand side. And so let's go ahead and do an example post here. And so just for the sake of time, I've already have the post right here. Okay, I grabbed the email address from the right side. And so here's really the important points here. So when you're making a post via email, you'll have The subject line will just become the title of the post. And any attachments that you put on the email and any text formatting will actually carry through to the actual post itself. And so say, for example, I want to make this bold, make that a little bigger. Okay. Okay. Say, for example, I want to link it to the Distinguished Service Awards website. This is sort of just an example post announcing an award winner. Okay, and that looks good. I'll go and send it along. Okay. And in just a couple moments, that'll actually appear as a discussion post. So pretty easy. Here we go right here. And so keep in mind, whenever you make a discussion post, the other members of the community will actually receive a email indicating that there's a new post. And so this is just a personal email I got indicating that my post is up. And here's the, so if you were a member of a community and somebody posted, this is roughly what you'll see. And so here's the full post. And say, for example, if I wanted to comment on that, easy as that, I just go ahead and reply. Okay. And in just a moment, the reply appears. So yeah, easy as that. And also just to point it out, so as you see the text formatting, that carried right through. Same with the attachments, the link, that all just carried right through. And that actually gives me sort of a nice segue to the next section. And so I had an attachment on this post. And so that actually automatically adds to what's called the library, which is just the shared file area. And so if you click on the library, I'll see all of the old uploads I have. And so for example, here's what I just uploaded. And also, we can also divide them into folders. And so if you want to do something with your community, say for example, you have government comments you want to put in one folder, you have a committee newsletter you want to put in another, just go ahead and let us know, and we're very happy to set that up. All right, great. So now that we've gone over the major components of Tax Connect, namely the discussion and also the library, and just one last thing I want to point out, which would be the member directory. And so this is just very easy to use. If you're looking for somebody in particular to see if they're in a community, feel free to just go ahead and jump over here. Full list of members is right here, but of course it's easier to search. And if you want to actually add somebody as a contact, so these are my coworkers, and so they already have their contacts here. But generally, if you wanted to add somebody as a contact, the option will be right here, and then you'd be able to send them a message. And that's a great way if you need to coordinate, for example, with a specific member. And so the last thing I want to cover would just be the profile, which also allows you to make some pretty important tweaks to the types of messages you receive from Tax Connect. So let's take a look. And so to get to your profile, you just click the bubble in the upper right. If you have a profile picture, it'll show here. If not, it'll just be sort of a default avatar. Go ahead and click on profile. Okay, and so similarly to the actual community view, here you'll see that it has, just this ribbon of different options, and you can add really any level of detail you want. And so if you want to add, where you went to school, quick bio about what you work on, feel free. And other than that, one thing I want to point out is how to manage the alerts you get from Tax Connect. And so as I mentioned, whenever there's a new post in the discussion forum, you'll actually receive an email. And whenever somebody replies to a post, you'll also receive an email. And there are a couple other points at which you'll receive an email, like if somebody adds a new library item. But for the most part, it'll be when people are in discussions. And so say, for example, you're a member of a really active community, and there's a lot of discussion going on, and you just don't want to see that many emails. You can always send them to a specific folder. That's what I do, and I'm happy to walk you through that if you have questions. But more importantly, what you can do is just jump over to community notifications just by clicking My Account, Community Notifications. And here you'll have the option to make adjustments to this. And so these are all the communities that I'm a part of. And so by default, I'll get real-time notifications whenever somebody posts, but I can also turn that to be a daily digest. All you have to do is just select it. You don't have to click save or anything like that. But a daily digest, that'll just send me a summary email at the end of the day that sums up all of the activity that's gone on in that community. And of course, it links it to the community if you just want to hop in and take a look at the discussions if something catches your interest, something like that. So very easy to do, and that's available right in our community notifications. Okay, so from here, that really covers everything for the Tax Connect basics and basically the crash course and how to use it. Certainly, there's a lot more you can do with it, and that's really the main idea behind where do we go from here, which is really just if you have questions or if you'd like a more individual tutorial, if I sort of breezed over something that you'd like to cover in more detail, certainly just go ahead and send me an email, give me a call, and I'm happy to set those up. And also, if you'll be coming to our May meeting, May 9th through 11th in Washington, D.C., it's going to be a great meeting. We'll have a lot going on there. And I'll actually be at the help desk. And I'll be available if you want to chat. If you want to just go somewhere and talk for 20 minutes about Tax Connect, I'm happy to do that. And of course, if you're part of committee leadership and want to discuss the committee landing page for your committee, just come stop by and say hello, and we'll get you all situated. And otherwise, one more thing I wanted to point out here. And so Tax Connect, we also do have plenty of support options, straight from the site. And so we have a couple how-to videos. This video will appear there by the end of the day today. And we also have a frequently asked questions, which is very, very useful. And so it's a user guide, and pretty much if you have a question about Tax Connect, there's a very good chance it's already here. And because it is a general Connect guide, the screenshots won't be from tax, won't be from tax communities, but it all applies just the same. And this is a really great resource. So I definitely recommend checking it out if you have any questions. And other than that, here's my contact information, and hope this is helpful, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you very much.